In this video, it's another repair challenge. I found this PC at eWaste and it was kindly labeled P2 starts no screen. It's coming up right now on Retro Hack Shack After Hours. Well, hey everybody, welcome back to Retro Hack Shack After Hours. My name's Aaron. Thanks for joining me. As I mentioned in the opening, recently I posted a video where I found a computer at eWaste and it had a little label on the top here that said that wasn't working, and I took that as a challenge and we ended up fixing it and getting it working again. And guess what? I've got another one here today. This is a Dimension XPS. It looks like H266, if I'm reading this correctly. And if you wonder why I'm always saying if I'm reading that correctly, I do have some vision issues thanks to my type 1 diabetes and some surgeries that I've had, retina surgeries, etc. But you'll have to forgive me for that because I believe this does say H266 and it already says P2 at the top. So this is a Pentium 2. 266 megahertz, and we don't know how much RAM it has or anything else, but we'll dig through it just like we did in that last video. So let's take a look at the front of this thing and we'll just go down the line here and we'll see what this thing has to offer. Okay, all right, so we're going handheld here. Right at the very top, we can see we have a Creative CD read-write drive. Those are always really cool to see and really fun to play around with. There's just something about that Creative brand that if you grew up at the time that I did, with the sound cards and all that kind of stuff, just seeing something labeled Creative kind of sparks a little joy, if you know what I mean. And then it looks like it has a regular CD-ROM here also. It's got a zip drive down here, which is nice to see. We'll have to see if that's working. A blank plug here, a blank plate there. And then it has a built-in 3.5-inch drive, 3.5-inch floppy drive down here. About the only thing that this doesn't have, if it were me, just because I like to play around with older PCs as well, I might take one of these CD-ROMs out and replace it with a 5.25-inch floppy drive just so you could have ultimate coverage of any kind of media you wanted to read in this thing. But yeah, then continuing down below, we've got the Dell logo, power button, reset button, and let's see what we've got down here. We've got the Intel inside sticker here, which has Pentium 2 right on it there. And then interestingly enough, it says designed for Windows 95. I thought this would have been a Windows 98 machine, but if there's a hard drive in here, we may get lucky and find that Windows 95 is still installed. Wouldn't that be cool? Taking a look at the back, we've got the power supply there at the top. We've got all the integrated peripherals. We've got, keyboard, USB, which is always nice to see, serial, parallel, all the things you would see on a PC of this vintage. And then we've got integrated sound card with joystick / MIDI, I'm assuming is MIDI also on that port. And then down below, we've got a VGA card, and look at that. It's some sort of a capture card, no doubt. There's a tuner on there because it's got the coax connection. And it looks like maybe a composite input as well. So that's really cool. Of course, you've got to have a modem in this time period, mid to late 90s, I would say. You've got to have a modem so that you could dial up AOL, etc., and get all of your cool, fancy software and files and send AOL messages to people. And then down below here, we have another card. It looks like a second modem. So again, oh no, wait a second. I got that wrong. That's a LAN card. That's a LAN card. So we've got Ethernet, we've got networking on this computer, and then we've got these really interesting integrated modem with sound capabilities, and people were using these for answering machines back in the day, and so they had like audio capabilities, and that's what those jacks are in the back. So yeah, looks like a pretty typical setup except for that capture card there, which is really nice. We'll have to check that out. Let's do that now by opening it up. And these Dell Dimensions back before they moved to the black cases are pretty nice because they're pretty easy to open. Sometimes they use plastic coverings and stuff, but they're still pretty sturdy and pretty nice. In this case, it just has this little screw, this little thumb screw in the back, and that should give us access to this side panel. Comes out. It's, what is that called? Capsulated or not encapsulated? There's a name for these. I always forget where they don't come off. You guys always tell me down below. I always promptly forget. But this does have, I want to make sure that's not taped. No, it's not. So we should be able to just pull this side panel off. Let's see. Yep, there it goes. Comes off, no problem. So a pretty straightforward affair. PCs at this time were always messy, even the ones that came from places like Dell, because they had all of these cables in the way. Now, unfortunately, right away, this is probably for the hard drive, and so the hard drive has been removed. So that's too bad. We won't be able to do any archaeology in terms of software and things that were on this thing. There are a couple labels up here, though. There's some sort of, I don't know, model number or something like that over here. And then up here, it says front panel latch, maybe? I don't know what that says there. Look, latch, loop? I don't know. Something underneath there. But it says front panel up there, and it has a little star. So maybe you put in, maybe they're saying to, I don't know, why would they write that? Who would need to know that right there? Anyway, so I'm not going to pull everything out and do a real deep dive here. We don't need to, I don't think, in this case. Pentium 2 processor. We've got a couple of sticks of memory in there, so that'll be good. Double-sided memory, so we'll have to see how much memory is in here. Let's take a look at these cards, though. I do want to at least pull the capture card out, and I'll probably remove the Ethernet card and the modem for now, since I don't want to have anything conflicting that I don't necessarily need in the system right now. And as promised, here's a look at that capture card. It's a WinTV card. So sure enough, it's got a tuner on it, NTSC. So this would not be, obviously not digital TV or anything like that, right? Just old school analog TV capture card. And it does look like it has that composite capture as well. So, no need for this really anymore unless you want to relive those old memories that you had in the past, because there's so many more capture devices out there on the market today. It's just really not needed, but really cool to see. I certainly had one of these devices in one of my early computers as well. Next up, we have this Ethernet card that we saw in the back. This is a Netgear FA310TX, I think that says, and it's got a digital chip on board. So yeah, pretty standard run-of-the-mill card for back in the day, I think. Nothing too special, but really nice to see, and something, again, that most people would have had or would have added to their PCs back then, as playing games over a LAN was becoming more popular. Last but not least is this modem card, and I didn't realize before, I couldn't see down at the bottom because the card was shielding my view, but this is an ISA card. It's really too bad you can't really use these modems for anything, again, unless you're trying to emulate how things work back in the old days. There's a couple of people that do that at computer shows. They use these modem cards to show youngsters, I guess, how you connected to the internet back then. And they'll set up little mini telcos and stuff where you can dial up BBSs or whatever. But yeah, unfortunately, not much use for these days. And I'll just take it out of the system to avoid conflicts. Now, there is a CMOS battery in here. I'm sure it's dead. It's right back here. So I'm going to go ahead and swap this out before we do a power on test. You know what? Let's just test this battery and see if it has any life left. Maybe Joe replaced this when he was testing this out to see, because I've been telling him about, when these things get real low, sometimes these batteries, oh, look at that, has almost 3 volts in it. So either this was replaced semi-recently or Joe replaced it when he was testing this out at eWaste. So yeah, very interesting. Just to finish my thought there, sometimes when these batteries get very low, they can cause the system not to boot. Now, in this case, this thing said it starts, which means, I'm guessing it means it sounds like it's booting, but there's no video coming out. But yeah, we can actually put this back in. I don't think this is going to be a problem at all. Now, while I put this battery back in and get ready to boot this thing up for the first time, it's time to thank the sponsor of this video, PCBWay. PCBWay is kind of a one-stop shop. They offer low-cost, high-quality prototype PCBs, as well as CNC services, 3D printing, and much more. You can check out their project page for fun projects to build in just a few clicks. So check out PCBWay today, and I thank them for their support of the Retro Hack Shack After Hours. Okay, so I've got everything plugged in. I've got the monitor plugged in, keyboard and mouse are plugged in, and power is plugged in. So let's just go ahead and turn it on, see what happens. See if we get the same result as Joe did. Hit the power button. Yep, I can hear fans. I'm getting beeps, series of beeps. So it's not happy about something. And sure enough, we have no post screen here at all. So let's wait a minute. Oh, there's another beep. So I'm assuming we're probably on the post screen at this point. It's probably done testing the memory, and we just have absolutely no video, just like the note said. Well, let's go ahead and change out that video card. Maybe that's all it is. So let me go find a PCI VGA card to throw in here, and we'll see what happens. All right, I pulled out a couple cards to test with. This one is a, kind of bare bones Cirrus Logic card. It, nothing fancy going on here. It's got some slots for additional video RAM, I think, over here, these sockets over here. But yeah, this one is pretty bare bones, and it should be a good one to test with because there's not a lot of other things going on. It does have a check mark on the back, so I've tested this before, and it's a known working card. The second one I just happened to find is this Diamond Viper PCI card with lots of memory on it and lots of chips. But this one does not have a check mark. So I thought we could go ahead and test this as well just to see if it works. And if it does work, I'll put a check mark on it so we can test it with this. I saved this one because it is a rather cool card. These Diamond Viper cards were, in my mind, I'm pretty sure I had one of these somewhere along the way. And in my mind, in 1993, this was a pretty cool card to own, if I'm not mistaken. And in case you're wondering, this is the card that was in there. I didn't pull this out before because I knew I was going to do a test of it, but this is the card that was in there. It's an NVIDIA GeForce 2 MX400 with 64 meg of RAM on it. So I think this would have been a pretty good card for this time and this vintage computer. Actually, this might have been even an upgrade, but regardless, we're going to take it out and test a different card just to see if we can get this thing working. And then maybe we can test this out in another system later on, or maybe replace some of these caps on board. It's got a lot of electrolytics. Maybe there's just something wrong with the electrolytics and there's like a short or something going on with it. But let me know what you think about this NVIDIA card. Okay, let's go ahead and power it up, see what happens, see if we get a video signal. Computer's on. Let's see if the beeps change. 1, 1, 2. So the beeps haven't changed yet. And then there was another beep later on. Yep, there it is. Still not getting any video though. So what is going on here? It's not just a simple video card problem. Interesting. Okay, I've got the Diamond Stealth card in now, and I am getting a video signal. Let's see what happens. Yes, it's working. Diamond Stealth to the rescue here, I guess. It looks like it detected everything, and the first couple of beeps that we heard before are gone now. It just has the post beep, like when the post is done, it does a beep and it's coming up saying drive A failure because it's trying to boot up. But yeah, this is working. I don't know why this card didn't work. I definitely have a check mark on it, but it's not working. But Diamond Stealth is actually working just fine. All right, let's just go into the BIOS and see what we've got here. It looks like this is the correct, or actually it's not the correct date. We're off by 2 here. So it's almost the correct date. So yeah, Joe must have gone in here. Well, no, he couldn't have gone in here because he didn't see it. So somebody set this up with the date, and it's remembering the date, even though I took the battery out and put it back in. So this is all looking pretty good. And it does show us our Pentium 2 running at 266, 512K cache. So yeah, this is looking fine. I don't see anything in here. We could load the defaults, I guess, the setup defaults or something like that. But I don't see a reason to do that actually just yet. I think we're actually good to go here for now. So let's go ahead and back out of here and see if we can load something up on this system. And by the way, this is exactly why I save a lot of cards I find at eWaste. I'll show you a couple of pictures of just a few of the boxes full of different kinds of cards, mostly ISA cards because I like to work on the older stuff, but a lot of PCI cards that I find interesting too. I will just save and test and see if they work. And then some of them I'll put on eBay, but definitely for things like this where you have a problem with a bad video card, now I can go raid my big box of PCI cards, find a video card that will fit in this thing, put it in, and maybe put this on Facebook Marketplace or something for someone else to enjoy. And yeah, I think we're going to be good to go here. So it's always nice to have some spare parts. Ooh, here's a fun one I picked up the other day. It's a Matrox Millennium card, which I think came out in 95, but this one is marked as September 12th, 1996, as a sticker on the front and the back. So yeah, let's throw this one in, see if that works. Yep. Just got a video signal. There it is. There we go. Well, for some reason with the Matrox Millennium card, the text is slightly moved off to the side here, but that's working pretty well too. Hey, well, at least out of this effort, I found a few good working video cards out of my big box that I can mark with a check mark now. I think the next thing we have to do is install an operating system. And I think for this, I'm going to install Windows 98 SE because that should have enough backwards compatibility to have the drivers that I need. Well, as you can see, I've reconfigured some things here. I've reinstalled the networking card because I figured we could maybe test that or at least see if there's any problems with it. And then I've also installed an 80 gig hard drive, which is, I think, somewhat period accurate here. And I've got some cleaning stuff. And so I thought we'd go ahead and test the floppy drive out, test the zip drive out, load an operating system on the hard drive, and just go through everything that I would normally do just to really test everything and make sure everything's working. So the first thing we're going to do is boot this thing up and test or clean the floppy drive. And then we'll test it and make sure that it's working. So a little IPA on the old cleaning floppy here, which was not even plugged in, by the way. The floppy was, the power cable on the floppy was disconnected for some reason, but I've plugged that back in, and yep, there it goes. So it's obviously not gonna, it's gonna OS load in progress. Okay, well, that's not gonna get very far. So it's trying to read the floppy, and it's not able to. I think that's good enough for cleaning here. So let's put that over there. My monitor seems to be, either my monitor or my cable, something is flaky, and I don't know what it is, but bear with me here and we'll try to figure that out. Okay, well, the floppy drive is obviously working because we're into DOS 6.22, and now should be able to load a driver for the zip drive here. Okay, it's trying to find a drive letter for my drive. Boy, that is really annoying. Uh-oh. Runtime error. I think this must be the wrong zip driver. Let's see. I've got some other zip drivers on this disk. Let's see what we can find. Can I just run guest from here, maybe? Okay, this is version 5.0. Let's see if this will find the zip drive. No drive letters were added. Well, so now it's saying that the drive letter is C for the zip drive. Let's see if that actually works. Invalid media. This could be formatted as a Mac zip disk. So let's see. Let's retry, but I don't think that's going to work. Let's go ahead and fail. Go back to A, and then let's do format C : and see what happens. Insert a new disk and press enter. Okay, yeah, it formatted 100 meg. Format complete. Unable to write boot though. Format terminated. Format another. Sure, let's try this again. Yeah. Unable to write boot. So again, this may be bad. Let me go grab another zip disk. We'll see what we can do. Okay, I've got a couple other zip disks here, and this one's still in the wrapper. Let's see about this one that's open though. Let's just try with this. It looks like it's in good shape. Let's see if it'll read it. Oh, it looks like it might be. Yes. Yes. Awesome. So this is actually working. Let's just see what's on this disk. There's a lot of stuff on here, man. This looks like a boot disk. EMM 386, mplayer.exe, egypt.bmp. What's on this thing? regedit, marble.bmp, winfile.exe, winhelp. I just typed win. Let's see what happens. Oh my word! I cannot find the device file that may be needed to run Windows. Did you see that? It said Windows 3.1. I can't believe this. Corrupt swap file warning. Okay, I don't want to mess with this anymore. This is going to take me down a rabbit hole. So I want to play with this some other time. I'm just going to take it out and mark it Windows 3.1. That is pretty freaking awesome. So I think someone probably backed up their Windows 3.1 or their Windows folder onto this zip drive. That is so cool. Okay, so I'm just going to take this out. I don't want this to do anything with it. I'm going to save this and we'll play with this in another video. Yay, we're into Windows 98 setup. Okay, this all is going to take a while. So I am going to do a jump cut here and we'll come back when I've got something more to say. All right, well, Windows 98 setup is complete and we're ready to restart the computer. I think the first time this comes up, it's going to install a bunch of drivers. Maybe, oop, there's a bug. Maybe we will get lucky and we'll get the sound driver automatically installed, but I don't think so. I think we're going to have to get that off the resource CD if we're lucky. Or maybe it's available online somewhere. Oh, I don't want to do that. Okay, here we go. There it is. Microsoft Windows 98 loading up. Getting ready to run Windows for the first time. I do have the speakers hooked up, but I'm just going to put in user here. I don't think we're gonna hear any sound anytime soon. Mouse is working. That's good. Oh, I gotta put in the product key. Okay, I've got a couple of keys to try here. Looks like it's gonna take it. Yep, finish. All right, now it's gotta build the driver database, and that's gonna take a while. So we will come back in a few minutes. Ah, yes, we must set the date and time. And it is getting the correct year off of the settings we had on the motherboard. The time is off though. It is, let's see, what time is it? 6:49. All right, one more restart. I think we'll do it. Let's see what happens. Ah, yes, here we go. All the new hardware will be found. Oh, hey. Sound is working out of the box. Nice. Almost there. I can feel it. Hey, we're on the desktop. Look at that. Oh, yes. Look at that. I don't know if you can hear the sound. I love this part. This little ditty that played while the Windows 98 thing came up was so cool. Made you feel like you were really in the future or something. Especially compared to, you know, if you were coming to this from Windows 3.1, I mean, this was like over the top cool. All right, here we are. We do have this sound working. I didn't think that was going to work. And yeah, everything else looks pretty good. Let's just take a look at the, oh yeah, we've got 256 colors. And oh, this, like, the drivers must be good for this card because we can go way up here. Let's go to 800 by 600 and let's go to high color. Let's really press our luck here, see what happens. Restart the computer with the new color settings. I don't want to restart. Yeah, we'll keep that. I can barely see it. But this is looking really, really good. And the nice thing is I didn't get any driver complaints about drivers or whatever. It seems like it installed everything, you know, right out of the gate here. Now, it probably didn't install the zip drive. Let's just check that out. No. So I don't have the zip drive installed. So we'll have to install the zip drive. And then maybe we can load a game or something and see how that runs. Oh, but I've got to reconfigure all this stuff. Well, let me work on that. I'll be back. All right, well, here it is, all fixed up, ready to go. I did have a few issues that I ran into when I tried to get everything working together. I had to change the jumpers on the zip drive. I changed them to cable select, and I changed the hard drive to cable select. That seemed to get both of them working on the primary IDE controller. And then I went to plug in the IDE to the CDRW, still wasn't working. What I had to do there was go into the BIOS. Turns out one of the IDE ports in the BIOS was set to disabled instead of auto configure. So once I had everything set to auto configure and the jumpers set correctly, then yeah, all the devices just came on and reported correctly in BIOS. And I do have one interesting issue though with these drives when it comes to Windows 98, and maybe someone out there will know what to do to fix this. But when I reboot the system from scratch, like I've just done, and go into Windows Explorer, take a second to come up here, you can see that all I have here is the C drive. I don't have the zip drive or either of the CD-ROM and CDRW appearing in Windows Explorer. But if I have a disk in here and I load one of these and get it to, something happens in the background where it's trying to figure out what's going on, then magically what will happen is all the drives will appear. So let's see if it does that. No, it didn't happen that time. Let's try the bottom drive here. Come on. Okay, I swear this worked last time when I was doing it. Oh, there it goes. So see, now I've got the A drive, of course, and the C drive, and now I've got removable disk D, which is the zip drive, and I've got E and F, which correspond to the creative CDRW and the generic CD-ROM, which is now F. And that all works fine. So I don't know, there must have been a bug fix or something here, something I need to do to get those to show up reliably every time. Now, I haven't loaded any patches or anything. Remember, I just installed Windows 98 SE from the retail installation media, and that's what happened. You'll see that the CD-ROM is flashing here, and that's because I put in the recovery CD from Dell, Now, this is different. It's not even a recovery CD, it's a resources CD, because this computer came out before they were doing recovery CDs where you could reinstall the whole operating system. So what they came with was the Dell Resource CD. That's what they came with. And, you know, it's giving us some information, but this is actually pretty cool. We can go in here and click Next, and there's all kinds of information in here. Let's see if we can even choose. I can choose an XPS down here, but it doesn't have the XPS-H. But I can choose the model number, and then you get all sorts of things that you can click on to load here if you want to. What I found interesting was the drivers, though. So they have Windows 98 drivers for all types of things in here. They've even got a couple different versions of DirectX, a Dell mouse, Altec Lansing stuff. But yeah, you can find all kinds of drivers in here if you look around. I think if I put this back on all, you'll see there's drivers actually for all kinds of different 3Com, you know, Ethernet, Altec Lansing USB speaker, Dell Logitech mouse, which we actually have a Logitech mouse. I don't know if it's a Dell Logitech mouse, but anyway, you get the picture, right? There were all kinds of add-ons for these computers, different cards that came with different computers, and all the drivers were at least here on this resource CD. Now, I also went through and I thoroughly cleaned the outside of the PC, wiped it down. Basically, all I had to do was wipe it down with some Windex or Windex equivalent. Of course, I took off the P2 starts no screen. We can get rid of that because this computer obviously has a screen. It has a good video card and it's actually working. So I'll throw that one away. And last but not least, there was some dark plastic scuffs that always seem to get on these old computers on the side. I just took some Roncinol lighter fluid and used a paper towel and cleaned it up as much as I could. Because this is a plastic case, I then went over it just to get every little last bit I could get off with the melamine sponge. I usually like to use that sparingly because it is an abrasive. Roncinol did most of the work, and then the melamine sponge got rid of pretty much the rest of it that was on there. So yeah, this thing is looking great. It's ready to go to its new owner. The only other thing that I found is that I turned this off and went to bed, and when I got up in the morning, it was actually booting and rebooting over and over and over again. I think that was down to a crusty power switch here or a crusty reset switch, because after I turned it off and on several times, it stopped doing that. But I will let the next owner, whoever ends up getting this thing, know that to suspect either the power switch or the reset switch if it starts flaking out like that and resetting itself. All right, well, actually I had to take a little break there because I was working on a project. I'm actually working on some new keyboard compatibility for the HIDman, and that got me derailed between that and my job, it got me derailed for a couple of weeks, but I'm back now, and I thought we would take a look at a game. So I've installed Dark Forces 2, and just before I start this up, it didn't ask me to reset, by the way, which was kind of interesting. It said I already had DirectX installed, so I didn't have to install it, so I didn't do that. But one thing I noticed that it took forever to install, and what was happening is the CD would spin up and spin down and spin up and spin down like every time it went to read. So I don't know if maybe there's dust on the lens or something. It's really having a hard time. And there's a little system checker utility that comes with Dark Forces, and I went ahead and ran it because I thought it would be funny to see like the minimum requirements. This thing should be more than enough for Dark Forces, right? Or Dark Forces 2. But this is, required RAM 16 meg. We've got 64. It requires Windows 95. It says we have Windows 95, even though this is Windows 98. It says it requires a Pentium 90. That was my very first PC that I built. I put a Pentium 90 in, super expensive. When I bought it, it says we have a 266, so that's all good. Down here, we need 40 megs of hard drive space. We have 2 gig of hard drive space, it says, so that's fine. But then CD-ROM speed, interestingly enough, 300 kilobyte per second CD-ROM, and it says we have 134 kilobyte per second CD-ROM. So this definitely should be a fast enough CD-ROM. I tried to put it in the Creative CDRW drive, but that wouldn't read my homemade CD-Rs. So we're just going to have to go with this. Hopefully it doesn't need to read. I did a full install. I took install as much as you can on the hard drive. So hopefully it doesn't have to read too much from the CD, except maybe to validate that I have a CD when the game starts. I don't know. We'll see. I haven't run this before. I've already done all this. I'm going to exit to Windows, and then we should be able to go up here and get here it is, LucasArts, Jedi Knight. Let's see See if this will run without rebooting. Oh, here we go. Play Jedi Knight, calibrate joystick. I believe this game has WASD controls, so we'll see. Sounds good so far. Let's get that sound going. Hopefully there's no copyright strikes on this. Ooh, yeah, baby. Sounds good. I may have to cut this when the sound comes in, because I don't want to get a copyright strike. Yeah, it's cutting itself. So it's trying to read this. I'm guessing this is a cut scene here. It's trying to read that from the CD, and it's really having trouble. I don't know. I can try the creative again, but I don't think that's going to work. We just might be stuck with this. Okay, so after that cutscene, it's not loading from the CD anymore. Maybe we'll be okay here. I can put in my name, mothballs. I could do, I don't want to do that. I don't want to get too crude here. We'll just do mothballs. Medium difficulty, okay. Single player, okay. Let's do a new game. Now it's probably going to load a cutscene. Yep, it's loading from the CD-ROM. Get ready for Skip City. The vertical city. Yeah, it's just cutting in and out so bad. Yeah, this will just not read it. I don't know if maybe this creative, I know back in the day, skip that. I know back in the day, some of you either is the CD-R, CD+R, you know, all that kind of stuff. So maybe the creative just doesn't read this type of media. I know it's a lot dicier back in the day. And then a few years after that, they got it all sorted out and kind of everything worked with everything. Okay, so instead, this time I'm going to skip past the cutscene. We'll get right into some gameplay and just see how this runs. I'm not going to play a long time. I just want to see kind of how this runs on this computer. It should be a lot of fun, actually. All right, here we are. Here's a dude. I don't know what, that dude's dead? Oh, I don't like the backwards thing here. Let's see what happens if I kill this guy. You're dead. You're dead, dude. I don't know what you, can I, oh, there he is. I really hate this. Hang on, let me fix this. Okay, there we go. Now it's fixed. So we're obviously in the cantina here. So I can hear the music. Oh, I got a stormtrooper rifle. You always cause trouble. I don't know if I can get that or what. I don't remember playing this game. Ooh, well, I don't know if I want to go down there. Do I want to go down here? Does that just go like, oh, you can't go out there. Okay. I don't know if I'm supposed to be killing people or what, but that's what we're doing. Somebody's shooting at me. Oh. Come on down here, buddy. There we go. Oh, I got their stuff. Energy cells. Nice. And then can I climb, jump? How do I get up there? Okay, I think X jumps. Let's see if we can make this work. There we go. Got the shield recharge. Nice. It's in an awkward place. I'm probably going to have to remap that to space, because space doesn't do anything. No, space does not jump. It's not letting me jump with space. Weird. All right, well. All right. Well, this is kind of a fun game, gotta say. I think I can do something. Oh, space activate stuff. Uh-oh. Whoops. Is this guy friendly?
Hey.
Hello. Oh.
What's happening?
Well, what's happening, dude? I don't remember them saying that in Star Wars.
I know nothing.
You know nothing?
Mind your own business.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. No, I was troubling you there. Grab their stuff. That's pretty funny. This is a cool game, though. I'm definitely going to have to come back and play this before this system goes on to its new owner. But yeah, this thing is up, working, cleaned up, running well. I think the single speed or dual speed, whatever it is, CD-ROM down here probably just needs to be cleaned up. Oh, look, there's a little, it goes around me when I don't move for a while. It does a little 3D thing. That's so cool. And the creative thing, again, I think it was just too old to be really highly compatible with a lot of rewritable CDs. I'm not going to go try a bunch of them. I just think that, you know, it's just due to the age of this thing. But I don't know. What do you think? Is this a cool system or what? I am actually pretty impressed. We got it working. Not too big of a deal, and it runs great. So someone is going to really enjoy having this. So if you like that one, go ahead and give it a thumbs up or click the subscribe button. And if you want to watch more videos like this one, I will put a couple of them right over here on the edge of the screen here. You can click one of those, and I'll see you in one of those videos next. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
End of line.